Yeah, so I just have trained myself coming from Nigeria to America with only $100 and a suitcase of clothes. I've tasted a lot of poverty and things being very hard. So I know that to succeed in life, one of the things was to learn how to move fast. So I had to literally rewire my brain from being a poor, lazy kid growing up in Africa to now start, okay, how do you think fast? How do you make decisions fast? How do you move fast? How do you move forward even with little information? So it was very, very intentional for me to start rewiring my brain. Like, okay, sometimes I'll tell myself, I was okay, imagine you have 10 seconds to make this decision, and this is the problem you have to solve. How do you make decisions fast?
Back for another amazing episode of Finding Your Niche with Niche. I'm your host, Nisha Rogers, and with me today is actually my first married couple, which, yes, I am so excited. Uyi and Faith Abraham are on the show today to talk about how they've built this multi-millionaire online platform and so much more. Their story's incredible. So yeah, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Oh, thanks. Girl, he stay copying me. Don't let him fool you. He stay.
Seriously, y'all been married long enough.
Yeah, we married long enough. We finish each other's sentences. We say the same thing sometimes. Like, wow, oh, wow, wow. You say at the same time. Like, okay.
That is awesome. Well, I'm so excited to kind of dig into your story. I've done a little bit of research to kind of learn about what you guys been able to do. And first of all, like, I wanted to give flowers. You gave me some flowers before we started rolling, so I'm just going to dish them right back to you guys because what you've been able to do with Vonza and just in general, the philanthropy stuff that you guys have done as well, giving back, all of it is amazing. So let's just get into the actual business side because I'm interested in the emotional and the marriage side too. But for people who want to learn about Vonza, how would you explain that platform?
Okay, so before I do that, so thank you for having us again. It's a pleasure to be here, being your first married couple guest. I think it's really exciting. So we started Vonza first because we've been coaches and course creators for quite some time. And then around 2008, 2018 and thereabout, you know, so creating a course and, you know, you have to use multiple tools, one for your course, one for your platform, one for your email, one for your, you know, everything was just all over the place, you know. And so one day I was creating my course and then my, you know, integrations broke and it was so embarrassing. And I felt so sad and ashamed that in 2018, there was not a single platform that allows anybody to simply run a business online instead of using multiple tools and using teams and stuff like that. So that was what led to Vonza, to make it simple for any coach, consultant, creator, you know, or just somebody that want to make money online to easily run their business online. So before Vonza, you have to tie all these tools together, like I said, but Vonza is a simple all-in-one platform that gives you your tool for your course, your membership, your email, your funnels, and pretty much website, 12 tools in one.
Can you believe that nobody had that? That's crazy.
And that was the thing, because it was like, why haven't y'all figured this out?
Yeah.
But we were in a position like mentally of just creating.
Okay.
And producing. So unless you take a step back or something happens, like when he was trying to do his webinar and everything wasn't speaking, you don't look at it. You're just doing what you got to do to make it happen and get your people the result.
Yeah.
So then when he had that thing, it was like, it forced us to like step back like, yo, this is madness. Like, this is so ghetto.
Right.
Like, why are we doing it like this? It should be one platform. Then the entrepreneurial side kicked in and was like, okay, if we're having this problem, other people are having a problem too. It's not just us, right? And that's the entrepreneur spirit. Like, if I can solve a problem for myself, then I know I can solve a problem for somebody else. And then is it scalable? And then how to scale it? And so you just kind of, it keeps going, and it took on a life of its own.
Yeah. Does Vonza actually mean anything? Is it an actual meaning?
People ask that all the time. So Vonza, So I mean, you can Google Vonza. It means something. I still don't kind of know exactly what it means. So what happened was that, so that particular night, so at first when I know the problem was there, I know what the solution was going to be, but there was no name. So I was going to call it Teach Slate, which I see on the domain.
Teach Slate?
Teach Slate.
Okay.
Yeah, which I see on the domain form. But I felt like that name wasn't vibing. It didn't sound fun or exciting.
It wasn't,
so,
I said it wasn't sexy.
Yeah,
it wasn't
sexy.
Yeah.
I'm glad you stepped in.
So I remember that night I just laid on my bed, with Christians, so I just prayed, I said, God, just give me a name for this. And I just heard Vonza.
Wow.
It was not a combination of words.
Yeah.
People say, did you just put Von and Za? No, I just heard Vonza. I never heard of Vonza.
Really?
Yeah. And
we were in Florida when it happened. Whoa. I will never forget that. Because he even said Vonza. And I'm like,
yeah, I just
what he was talking about.
It came in as an inspiration. I was like, okay, God, if this is you, then let it .com be available.
Yeah.
And because it's a 5-letter word, so I already know, because being in the online business space for a while, that 4 5-letter words are very hard to find and very expensive too. So somebody had it, they wanted thousands of dollars for it. God said, just put it on American Express. I bought the domain name, and that was it.
They wanted a couple $1,000?
Thousands of dollars.
And you still got it anyways?
I got it. Yeah.
Obedience.
Yeah.
Oh my, how interesting. I'm glad you got it, because I don't know if it'd be how it would sound Vonza.net or Vonza.co.
Vonza.me.
Girl, wait.
Okay, well, very cool. Okay, so I'm really interested to know the turnaround, because something that I'm working on personally is follow through. So I'm curious to know, when you got that insight from God that you should start the platform and the time frame it took you to actually create the platform. What was that turnaround like?
So for me, I move fast.
Okay.
So there was no waiting, I don't have a problem with moving fast. The problem I have is sometimes moving too fast. Yeah. So I think God balances us. So I'm the more like, let's go. And she's more like, okay, let's check the details and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're my husband and you're me.
Yeah. And that used to frustrate me early in the marriage. I felt like she was trying to hold me back in some things.
Say it again.
Or I felt like she was not thinking big enough. But now I see that she's just looking out for in areas you're not looking at, Yeah, so I just have trained myself coming from Nigeria to America with only $100 and a suitcase of clothes. I've tasted a lot of poverty and things being very hard. So I know that to succeed in life, one of the things was to learn how to move fast. So I had to literally rewire my brain from being a poor, lazy kid growing up in Africa to now start, okay, how do you think fast? How do you make decisions fast? How do you move fast? How do you move forward even with little information? So it was very, very intentional for me to start rewiring my brain. Like, okay, sometimes I'll tell myself, I said, okay, imagine you have 10 seconds to make this decision, and this is the problem you have to solve. How do you make decisions fast? So those things really helped me to just kind of rewire my old philosophy that I just move fast. Everything I do.
Well, I was going to ask you that too, because, for you to just use the phrase rewire my brain, it kind of sounds like easier said than done. Yeah. So the fact that you mentioned, giving yourself an actual strategy of figuring out, if I had to do something in 10 seconds, how do I actually execute? That's incredible. So for other people who kind of want to do that, learn how to rewire their brain, what would be some other tactics or techniques that you guys use to do that?
Yeah, so I think there's a book, I think by Mel Robbins, I could be wrong. I think it's called The 5-Second Rule.
5-Second Rule, Mel Robbins.
So yeah, I didn't read the book, but I kind of read a lot of articles people wrote about the book. So yeah.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he does.
I've done that cheap code like that because I've been very cheap. Because growing up, I had no money. So I'm the guy that will go to Barnes & Noble and stay there for 5 hours and read books for free.
No, not read. He would just
skim through.
Boom, boom. Like he's a Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, hold on. Let me take my time so I make sure I digest it.
Yes, again, you are my husband. And I knew we were the same person.
Yeah.
No, I want to get it all in so I don't miss anything.
Yeah.
And then I can really say, okay, I got the lesson that I needed to get from this thing.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah. So
But the rewiring, go ahead.
Yeah,
You were
so
gonna say.
pretty much it's just learning and training. So me, just understanding. Once you understand how certain things work, then you can just rewire it. For example, people say they don't have time to read a big book, which is maybe 200-page book. Then when I started researching, I found that it actually takes about 5 hours to read a 200-page book. So you can read a 200-page book in a Saturday for 5 hours. So when I understood that, then it's just easier now. It doesn't look intimidating anymore because it's just 5 hours to finish a book. Then I read to that a lot of wealthy people, millionaires, billionaires, they don't have time. So the way they read books, they skim through books. They skim through the pages. So once you kind of start training yourself how to do that, you can pretty much read a 200-page book in an hour. Because you don't have to read word for word. You just have to kind of skim through and kind of get the essence of the book, and certain places where you need to focus a little bit more time. You know how to do all that. So it's just pretty much that process of kind of learning from pretty much millionaires and billionaires, mentors, and just kind of see how the way they think, the way they read, and the 5-second rule. And many times I train my wife on that literally too, because she kind of like to understand everything. I keep telling her, say, babe, okay, what about if you have 5 seconds to make this decision
And
now?
what I say? If I had 5 seconds to make a decision, I ain't making that decision. You don't want me. I'm not making it because I need to have all the information before I make the decision. Because that's the way I process. So we work very well together because he'll say, okay, this is wait, hold on. Did you consider this? But what happens if this happens? Okay, what about if this happens? Then we can do it like this here, and then other stuff starts coming up. He's like, oh, okay, I saw that. So we're gonna make the decision or not? Okay, yes.
Oh my gosh.
So
That is so cool. I love that. So we said it a couple minutes ago, but if you guys haven't picked up already, he has an accent. You're from Nigeria. Are you from Africa too?
I am. I was born and raised here. But my parents immigrated to here in the 70s. Yeah, from Nigeria.
So with you being native of Africa, how do you feel about African Americans?
Blessed, but still living many times on the kind of the slave, the slave consciousness or whatever.
Or the stigma behind it. Because for me, like the limitations of it. So like, because for him, since he wasn't born here, there's a lot of stuff I was born here and I don't know about. TikTok is letting me know about. You get what I'm saying? So if I didn't know and I'm born here, then how in the world would he know, or how in the world would they know? They don't. They don't understand that experience. So for me, it was like I had 1 foot in America, 1 foot in Nigeria. So I could put myself in both areas and understand, okay, it's hard for you to identify with a place you've never been to. You have no connection with. There's no connection to it. There's no familiarity, right? It's just these stories of past or what used to happen, or they said it was a boat that came and several of them just jumped over. They literally drowned themselves on purpose because they refused to be enslaved. But that's the closest that African Americans have to that, until they have a friend like me or they have a friend like him, that now we can have these conversations where we can exchange and share stories and really have that connection with one another, which is, I feel like all that's really missing is just, I need a connection. I'm not interested in a place I've never heard of. I might be from there, but I don't know. I think Stevie Wonder even said, when I die, bury me over there. Because that's where I'm from.
And I think and there's a lot of smart thinking, so to speak, and many African Americans are not taking advantage of the resources in America. And many times is generational teachings that's limiting them back, right? Whereby many times you grow up, if your parents grew up in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, they saw, racism, they saw the way white people treated black people. They teach you to be careful, don't think too big, don't do this, don't get into trouble.
Don't turn your lights on in the car at night.
They don't want us, they don't want no helpers. But what we've done many times is that we've now kind of limited the thinking of of our children. And so, and it's sad because I'm in tech, you know. When we started Vonza, you know, Vonza was the first black-owned all-in-one platform. You know, not a lot of black people didn't want to do tech because it was intimidating. It cost a lot of money, because it's just not our thing. Our thing is music, is rapping, is entertainment, right? So exactly. But I'm like, why is it not our thing? When the richest people in the world, they're either in fashion, high-tech fashion, in tech stocks, or something like that, you know? So why not our thing? Why are we limiting ourselves? Because we feel like certain things are not that foreign to us. But thank God I've always been a risk taker. I've always learned to think big, dream big. I want to do what people don't normally do. Like, first black to own a tech company, all in one. You know, we have a university, and before I die, I want to own a bank. You know, why not?
But then you're also talking about somebody who, and you have to see it from his perspective as well, right? When you don't have anything at all, there are no social programs back home. There are, if you broke, you're broke. It's just, that's
because when you say broke, it's like broke.
No, we're talking about broke, like a boiled egg that we would sit there and just let leave on the table or, you know, throw away, or the kids destroy it. They're sharing a boiled egg,
One
like
boiled
cutting
egg into
it
4 places so that every kid will have the protein in the food.
Oh,
you know, when I was young, I used to pretend I was sick so I can eat chicken. You know, I couldn't just say, I want to eat chicken, I want to eat wings, no, you couldn't, because there was nothing like that.
But if you're sick, you go.
When you were at that age, though, but did you realize at that age, or do you have like an isolated memory that you can recall where you realized for the first time the gravity of the lack in your life?
Yeah, I did, because
That's a good question.
because I did. I mean, we were okay. We were better than a lot of other people. That was how bad it was. But also too, I went to like a good school. That was one good thing my grandma did for me. Went to a good school whereby I was also surrounded by people with a little bit more affluent homes. So I saw that we were living really poorer than I thought we were. Right? So I remember one of the episodes that made me realize how bad we was, you know. There's no, I mean, you eat whatever food is at home. You don't have a choice of what to eat. You can't eat no food, chicken, except like chicken wing, chicken thigh, except it was Christmas or Easter. That's the only time you can really eat a full chicken wing or thigh, you know. So that was the kind of experience going on, and it also, you know, became traumatic for me. As many Africans, when we eat chicken, we eat the bones too. Right? We don't just like eat chicken like we eat the bones.
The gristle.
Yeah, everything, you know? We don't eat chicken like Americans. We just take pieces.
No,
we eat chicken. We eat the bones. Right?
Wow.
And for our parents to not make us feel so bad, they used to tell us that eating the bones, which is kind of partially true, helps your teeth to be strong. They say, you got to eat the bones because it makes your teeth strong. But because there was not enough food, enough meat.
So clever.
You know?
So now, somebody who's had that experience, a lot of them have, but still ambitious. Finally get the opportunity to come to America, the land of the free.
Right.
What you think they're gonna do when they get over here? Like, you're not gonna put no limitations on. I've seen limitations. I've seen poverty. Like, I've experienced not having anything, and there's no government assistance to help me out. It is what it is. Either you sink or you swim. Period. So then when they come over here and it's like, okay, you could do this, you could do that, you can experience this, you can get funding. Hold on, I can get funding? Then it's like a whole new world opens up. So that thinking of having to pace yourself and don't get too ahead of yourself because you don't want anyone to think or they take something away from you, which is what a lot of African Americans have had to experience and go through and has been passed down. That limitation is not on them. So then they also have an expectation back home, like if you get over there and you fail, you just a loser. You just don't have it together, period. God can't even help you. You know what I mean? So when you get over here, you have this drive to make something of yourself. So it's a totally different reality.
And did you guys do just that? Like make something of yourself? So both of you guys have your doctorates? Are both of you guys doctors? Okay, so with Vonza, when was it that you realized how successful it would be, or did you realize that it would be kind of the level of success that you see today?
What did you say to that?
Yeah, so of course I knew that the problem we had with making online business simple was something that millions of other entrepreneurs and creators will have as well, you know, and also to Shopify. At the time, Shopify had like 1 million customers, which, you know, there are hundreds of billions of dollars in market, you know, value. So I knew it was big. I knew that it was something that if we just continue to keep doing what we're doing and making it better for, you know, people to run their business online, that was going to be really successful. And I think we're just getting started. Right now, we are at a 30 million valuation, but some of our competitors in our space, like Shopify, I think they're over 100 billion.
What does that mean?
When you say valuation?
Yeah.
Yeah, valuation is pretty much, you know, how much your company is valued. So if it was to be sold today, how much will it sell for? So it will sell for $30 million, right? But then some of our companies...
Say it so casually. Like,
yeah, because it's small. Because
it's small to you?
Yeah, it's small because, again, look at Shopify, 100 billion with a B.
Okay.
So we're still like talking about M now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the goal is to me, it's not going to be, I won't consider like, oh my God, this is so amazing until we get to $1 billion in valuation. Then I'll be like, niche, yeah, we're successful, yeah. So I'm like, we're just getting started.
Yeah. So what will it take to get to that 1 billion?
So we need at least, at maybe about 50 to 60,000 customers, we should be able to get to that level of valuation. Okay. One thing with tech too is there's a multiplier. So it's not like you're selling, you know, merch or whatever the case is. So it's a multiplier. So for example, if your company is doing, say, $10 million a year in tech, you know, 10x of that, your company could be valued at $100 million. Okay. So it's a multiplier. That's the thing, right? So how much will it sell for in the marketplace? So it's making 10 million a year. People will be like, hey, that should be valued 10x of that. So if we're doing about 100 million a year, 10x of that will be $1 billion company. Okay. So to do $100 million a year, we need to get about 50 to 60,000 paying customers to get to $1 billion in valuation.
Okay, and then how old is the company?
About 3 years now.
Oh, okay, so it's a baby still, kind of technically. I mean, but still. But still, like what you guys have been able to do has been incredible. I think one of the things too that is really interesting about you guys' story, and Faith, you can probably speak to this maybe more than Uyi, but the emotional aspect that you have to being entrepreneurs. Like the mindset shifts that need to take place in order for you to kind of go for something, have this gusto to kind of like really, really just, you know, approach it with a level of just like audaciousness. So can you talk about the emotional aspect to the brand and to the company at large?
Because, you know, we're not trained as entrepreneurs. We're trained as workers. So much of our programming is to be a worker and be in that routine and just do what's safe. And this is everyone just across the board. So now when you step into the entrepreneurial space, you're literally talking about being okay, being uncomfortable, stepping into new spaces, wanting to make more money, learning how to sell, market, copy, speak. What is your hire, fire? People, dealing with people, especially if you're an introvert. Good God. My introverts, like who are entrepreneurs, it's like a roller coaster because you're literally having to make these shifts and adjustments within yourself even after you've achieved something. So it's gymnastics for the brain. It's like you're jumping through these hoops to continue to go on. And as an entrepreneur, you know, everything isn't a straight shot. It's like up and down. So you might make a sale, that person will do a chargeback on you. And then you're like, dang. I just should have just kept the job. My mama was right. Dang, you know, and you're going through all this stuff. You're like, but I know I can do it. I set my body, you know, you crying at night. You get up and you have to encourage yourself. You have to learn how to build yourself up. And we were talking about earlier, like rewiring your brain to be okay with discomfort. And be okay when fear comes over you. It's like, fear, oh, this is great, fear, yes. Then that means literally your brain is telling you what you're doing right now we're not used to this. This is not normal. Something bad could happen, which is literally a sign that you're onto something big. If you do this, everything is going to change. So that fear is literally a part of your growth as an entrepreneur. But people don't know that. Yeah. So they're like, well, I feel like, I don't think I should make this investment. I don't think I should do this. No, baby, that's fear talking. That's not really what you want, and having to be okay with having the fear and then saying, okay, if I'm fearing this, there's something to it, and working yourself into it.
Yeah. Over it. I love that you just used that example of the fear of the investment. Yeah. I heard you say in another interview, the cost of the investment to start Vonza. Can you... that I put into Vonza? Yes, to create Vonza, because it is like a scary thing, but like you're saying, the thing that people don't realize is what's on the other side of the fear once you actually do it. So can you talk about how you were able to kind of like overcome that, like, to encourage other people who may be like figuring that out still?
Yeah, so what I've always done is that, because I kind of think big, and so many times, I don't always my brain is not wired to try to figure out all the details sometimes. Yeah. I just know where I want to go. Yeah. And then the first thing I do is that, what's the first step? And that's where people miss it. Because if you try to think about how big or where you're trying to go and what it's going to take, you're going to get overwhelmed. So I tell people, don't worry about the details too much. Just worry about the first step, right? Okay, I want to start a tech company. I'm not a software engineer. What's the first step? I need to talk to some tech founders. Yeah. What's the second step? I need to put some tech team together. Okay, what's the third step? Where do I find this tech team to put together, right? Okay, what about the money? Okay, I don't have millions of dollars at a time to do it. Okay, so what's the minimum financial requirement I need for the first step, the second step, the third step? And just have this faith that if I can just start, God is going to help me to finish, right? So that's what I've always done. It doesn't always serve me well, because I've also made some bad financial decisions, but for the most part, it's worked best, because if I had waited to try to understand everything or put everything together, I would have been further ahead. So somebody watching right now, this is what you do. Don't worry about all this other stuff. Don't worry about what you don't have. Just think of what you have. What is the first step you need to do? Maybe you need to start a business. Your first step could be hire a coach, or go or read a book, or start your LLC, or get some funding. Doesn't matter. Once you make that first step, God will make the second step clearer to you. That's always been my principle. What's the next thing I need to do? Take step one. When I get to where step one is, step two will be clearer to me. Yeah, that's what I've always done.
Minimum viable product.
Yeah.
King.
I love that analogy. I have that same philosophy. You do what you can, and God will do what you can't. Yes. And the rest will just fall into place. Okay, so for those who are curious, what was the actual cost of the investment to start Vonza?
So in 3 years is over $1 million minimum that we put into Vonza. It's software. It's expensive, and that's where a lot of
But it's not like, oh, it's $1 million and you got to write $1 million check and just put it, right? Yeah. It's like 1,000 here, 10 here, 100 here. So it's like little, so you can keep working your way up. Like you just keep pedaling.
Then you start reinvesting some of the money from your customers, your profit.
Then you just reinvest it, and you just keep doing it over and over again. And so it's not like a big one-time thing. It's just like, and then when you add it up, you're like, oh yeah, I did spend that much. But we do that all the time at Target, at Nordstrom.
Yeah, and let me say something too.
I'm just saying.
I was on David Chan's podcast. Shout out to David Chan. Yes. And in his podcast, somebody watched the episode, and it was like, wow, first Black-owned, all-in-one platform for creators. And he found me online, and he called me and said, I want to invest in Vonza. Wow. And I thought it was just somebody just trying to waste my time. I was giving the runaround until he was persistent. And he said, I want to come to Atlanta, meet you in person. And to cause the long story short, he wrote a 6-figure check. as an investor. And the reason I'm saying is that Arno is watching you right now. So we're trying to take Vonza to another level. So if you're watching and you feel led by God to partner with us or be an investor, please do so, because I know your audience is huge. I know you got some heavy hitters that have been on this show. So I'll put it right there. Well, let's take Vonza to be the first black-owned $1 billion company. So
call 188.
And I'll give you credit. I'm like, hey, shout out to Niche.
Yes.
This investor came in from our show. Who knows?
Yes.
I know you're powerful. I know you got some heavy hitters that have been on this show. Yeah. The #1 podcast show. Anyways, congratulations.
But something else that I think is really interesting about that, because those are some big numbers, and you guys, you know, are in the same household. Yeah. So it's not like you're business partners and you have like separate, you know, situations. Like all of this, you work together, you live together, you do life together. Yeah. And so how have you guys been able to kind of commingle that, where it's like you said, hey babe, it's 1,000 here or another 10,000 here? How does that actually work at home?
So I'll start and you can add to, you know. So for us though, I think we've had a good working relationship from day one. I mean, we work together, we have the same office, we work from home, we have an office, we work together as well. I think we've a good marriage will always turn into a good business partnership. If you're married to somebody that you guys bump head all the time, you guys not going to be good business partners, pretty much. You know, but when your marriage is solid, then your business partnership is going to be solid, right? Then also to just kind of knowing each other's strengths and weaknesses as well, you know, so I know what I'm good at, I know what she's good at, so I allow her to do what she's good at, she allows me to do what I'm good at. So this thing just kind of help us to flow really well. I mean, I love when she's in the office working. Yeah. Some couples can't stand their couple being in their face all day, every day. They'll be like, I'm bored, and it's not. I mean, we just enjoy each other's company.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest part, because at first it was a little, I don't know for him, but for me it was, because I was like, you are not clean. You don't keep your desk tidy. How your desk not tidy? So then I would try to tidy up his desk for him, because, you know, I love him. And he's like, I can't find my paperwork. I can't find this. I can't find. Stop moving my stuff. Like, don't touch my stuff.
Move my stuff. I can't find my papers, and that stresses me.
In order.
You're trying to help me, but you're stressing me because I can't find my stuff. You know.
So we weren't honoring, or I wasn't. I know I wasn't honoring our differences, and that's what creates the contention a lot of times. Not just in the business sense, but also at home. Like, you're not honoring each other's differences. There's a reason why you're like this. Y'all fit hand in glove for a reason. Like, if you do your hands like this, it's because it's positioned a certain way for it to mesh. So let him be how he is, and let me be how I am. Because when we come together, it's solid, it's tight, and it works. So, but if you don't honor each other's differences, or you're like, okay, I'm gonna do it like this, or you need to do it like this, you need to be like me, then it's really difficult. And I just know how he is. Like, he's the big vision person, I'm the detail person, so I'm gonna just be the detail person, and then he just be the big vision. And as long as he can show me how the money will come back, I'm good. As long as I can see it come back. Bring it back.
Yeah, and also too, from day one, my dream was just to always let her be her as well. You know, I just wanted to just be happy, have fun, and do what she can, and you know, and just everything's gonna be fine. Wow. You know, so you know, there's this conversation about this 50-50 thing going on. I've never been a 50-50 person. You know, when we got married, you know, you don't know. Let me say a little bit about our story, you know, because you know, I came to America with just $100, suitcase of clothes, and then when God started talking to me about getting married, she just finished from college at the time. We had nothing, you know, so I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment. The rent was $440 a month. I was struggling to pay. I had no couch. I had one, whatever, it
was a futon.
Futon. That was the bed. I had no dining set.
It was a desk.
A desk,
in
office
the dining
desk.
room.
That was a.
So I was like, where you eat it? What is happening in this place? Where do you eat?
Yeah, you know, so we had nothing. Even our wedding, you know, I bought a wedding dress for $50 on eBay. and spent $25 to dry clean it.
To dry clean it.
So she believed in me.
$75 dress.
Yeah, so she believed me when I had nothing. I told her that God was going to bless us with going somewhere. I had a big vision. But she believed in me and she suffered with me. So when you have a woman who's been with you from day one and really helped you to go up, you know, the sky's the limit what you can do, right?
Yeah.
So we're just very grateful for
But
her.
you put a ring on it from day one, though.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to wait no 10 years for you married.
Yeah, you had some very interesting commentary on Jonathan's show about Africans and being married and wives and stuff like that. What was your take on that?
I was cringing the whole time. You want to know the truth? Yeah. I was like, oh Lord, what is this?
Yeah.
What is this? But he was very truthful.
Yeah, but let me say one thing though. Okay. Shout out to Jonathan. Jonathan is a good editor though.
Yeah.
So what a lot of people don't know is that some of those clips he posted was mushed together, and some of the stuff were
it looked like it was flowing.
We gotta watch the whole episode together, real
the context.
flow.
So yeah, when I saw the clips, I was like,
yeah.
So you went on the show to talk about this? But then he was like, babe, you have to watch the whole thing. And I'm a context person anyway, so I was like, I will watch the whole thing. And it made sense in context. And I was like, oh, this is a really good podcast. But just looking at the clips on Instagram, I was like, what is this?
Yeah, that is so funny. I think I read in one of the posts that you made, you call him your Oga? Aga?
Oh, I said Oga. Okay.
Oga? What does that mean?
Boss.
Oh.
Like, boss, big guy.
Yeah.
You know, the head. Like, so if you're saying, like, if you see, like, Nigerian guys come together, that's how they're, Oga, how you doing now? Like, you know, just, like, they're just boosting each other up, gassing each other up. So it's like, I'm just calling him Oga. I'm just saying, big guy. You know, I'm gonna boost up my babe now. Like, let's be clear. You know. So so that's all it is.
That's awesome. Okay, so as we get ready to wrap up, I want you guys to give the people some words of encouragement about, you know, if they want to see themselves in the position that you guys are currently in. What would you say are some of the biggest characteristic traits or mindset tools, faith, the spirituality adaptations that they need to have and implement in order to kind of see the same level of success that you guys have seen?
I'll go first.
Yeah, I would definitely say get really rooted in your faith, because if you don't believe there's something bigger than you, there's a calling, there's a purpose, a rhyme, and a reason to your life, it's going to be hard to stick it out when tough times come. And tough times will come. You're an entrepreneur. But the best thing about being an entrepreneur is not only does it affect your life, it affects other people's life. And it's going to require you to be bigger. So your faith is going to really lead you in that direction. And I would also say renewing your mind constantly. Don't get tired of literally shifting your identity and being okay with changing. The way you were before is not who you need to be a millionaire, because if it was, you'd already be a millionaire. So that just means there's some growing that you need to do. Just like a kid, they'll complain, oh, my leg hurt, my arm hurts. And then you tell them, you're getting taller. That's all it is. And they're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Same thing with you. Be tall. Accept the growing pains. Never get tired of being more than what you are right now.
Awesome. Okay. So for me, just like my wife, Dr. Faye, said, I will say mindset is the foundation of everything. Because I was poor and I'm rich. One thing that I've changed was my mindset, you know, invest in your mindset, your exposure. And for a lot of you, you have to move location. One of the most significant thing we did, and that's why I give my wife so much credit, was we were on the south side of Atlanta where, you know, I mean, it was a little bit impoverished, so to speak, and I was comfortable there because I was so scared to move out of there. So she really convinced us to move. Just by moving, when we moved from the south side to the north side to a more affluent area, that's when we became millionaires, honestly, because environment matters. Right? If you grow, that's why rich people, they spend millions of dollars to put their kids in good schools. There's a reasoning for that, because you're exposing them to different kind of people, different kind of opportunities. So mindset, so some of you got to move, get out of the ghetto, get out of those environments that you're comfortable at, go to the places where you want to be. And then the last thing I'll say is mentorship and coaching. Find somebody who's already done what you're trying to do and learn from them. And the last thing I'll say is just just faith in God. Just have some faith and make big, bold moves.
I love that.
Quantum faith leaps.
Yes, I love that. And if people want to tap in with Vonza and what you guys are doing with that incredible platform, can you give them information about how they can tap into that?
Yeah, so just go to Vonza.com, VONZA, Vonza.com, and we have a free forever plan, you know, to make it easy for you to get started. Maybe you still can't try and figure out what kind of online program to offer. You can start with a free plan, and when you're ready, you can just upgrade to one of our paid plans so you can take advantage of more features. So again, what Vonza does is it just simplifies your online business, so you don't have to waste time, money dealing with tech frustrations. Most entrepreneurs save average of $1,000 a month using Vonza instead of paying for 12 tools, when you can pay for one good one to run your entire business, from courses, website, membership, everything you need in one place. So go to Vonza.com and get started.
Yes, that's right. Not Teach Slate.
No. You have good memory, though.
Very good memory, yeah.
So that name was quite bad, Teach Slate?
Yes, it's kind of clunky.
Yeah, like you really had to think about it. But you can just say Vonza, and it's like, okay, Vonza.
Yeah.
Okay, what's a Vonza? Right? With Teach Slate, it's like, it's a slate of people.
Well, right. I want to thank you guys again so much for coming on. You guys' story is so dynamic and inspirational at the same time. And so I'm just going to continue to watch you. And I actually might tap into Vonza because I need y'all.
Why not?
I need y'all. Like, I'm just realizing it the other day, like you said, like I got something here, something here, something here, something here. And so consolidating it all into one is super amazing. And so, yeah, y'all just keep going.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. All right. Peace.